I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
November 14th, 2024. November 14th, 2024. Didn't quite sound right. Let's try that, see if that sounds better. Let's try that, see if that sounds better. Much better. Welcome back to the program, folks. Let's get started. No introductory music, no long prelude. People asked for this. And by not having prelude music, I've proven my point. 6 people currently here. Yesterday we had 40 people after I played the intro music. So we'll see what happens now. 3 minutes in, we're up to 12. We'll see how it grows at 3 minutes in. Let's keep a close eye and let's see if the audience grows. Anyway, let's get to the news since that's what we're doing. We will smoke them out. Wow, Minister in the Presidency, Ntshavheni, talking tough about illegal miners in South Africa. Zama's Hardest Pretoria says, caught you live. Thanks for the podcast. You're very welcome. I don't know why people call this a podcast. It's actually a vlog. Anyway, podcast is tied to Apple, but it gets spread across this ubiquitous term, kind of like Coke explaining soft drinks or Kleenex explaining tissue when it's tissue. Anyway, but yeah, it's a video log, but that's fine. Colloquially, I'll call it a podcast. I guess I'm going to have to come around to that. It sounds better than vlog anyway. Vlog sounds like some sort of ailment or affliction. Anyway, we are going to smoke them out is what she has to say. Yeah, she talks tough amid skepticism. Actually, are there really 4,500 illegal Zama's underground? Wow, it seems doubtful that anything approaching an accurate roll call could have been undertaken in such circumstances. Thumbsuck is the term that immediately comes to mind. It reports as many as 4,000 illegal miners are somehow stuck underground in Northwest in Stilfontein. Minister in the Presidency, Kumbudzu Ntshavheni, told the media, we will smoke them out. Wow, that's crazy. Now, as many as 1,000 have already been arrested by emerging from the mines, and they're asking for rope to send out dead bodies of those who died underground. It's crazy. But she does say we're going to smoke them out. She's serious. This from a government that claims to be humane. This from a government that takes Israel to the International Court of Justice for so-called genocide when Israel is defending itself. But South African police are trapping illegal miners underground where they die of dehydration and starvation. Wow, that doesn't sound very humane, ANC. I'm just saying. Not that I'm defending Zama's. There'll be a forthcoming video about this. Well, should the government rescue these Zama's or smoke them out? South Africans weigh in on this. Wow. South African Police Service and South African National Defense Forces Operation Vala Umgodi has seen over 1,000 Zama's surface at Stilfontein. Wow. So the government has restricted people from delivering food and water to the people underground. Illegal mine does not follow mining standards. The mine could collapse while the officers are down there. It's 2 kilometers deep. Police officers unfamiliar with that territory. Zama's are armed and could use officers as hostage as they've been evading arrest, said someone on Twitter. That's correct. That's 100% correct. The person who said that is absolutely 100% correct. It's dangerous for them to go down there. Yep, they refuse to surface. Well, that's because they don't want to be arrested. Hawks have summoned former Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor Gary van Niekerk. Ooh, will he have to answer for alleged corruption? That is the question. Fall from grace. They've summoned him. The Hawks in the Eastern Cape have served a summons on former Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor Gary van Niekerk, instructing him to appear in the Specialized Commercial Crime Court by December 12th to answer fraud charges. The charges stem from allegations he requested services as a law firm in his capacity as council speaker 2 years ago while his position was in question. He's now the deputy mayor after swapping places. The summons issued by the Khbera Serious Commercial Crime Investigation Unit of the Hawks on November 14th related to allegations of cyber fraud and contravention of the Municipal Finance Act. The investigation stems from allegations or claims made by the ACDP's Lance Grootboom, who claimed that although Van Niekerk was not the Speaker of Nelson Mandela Bay for several months in 2022, he still used an official letterhead and signatory of the office to appoint Bokwana Burns attorneys and rack up legal bills to the tune of 551,000 rand. Boy, they're definitely going after the small fry, not the $7 billion illegal arms deal, not Oilgate, not Travelgate, not Nkandla. None of these things are actually being prosecuted to any degree that would satisfy the public interest. But Gary Van Niekerk, 500,000 rand. Danny Jordan, 1.3 million rand. Don't get me wrong. They should be prosecuted and pursued, but that's the focus. Yeah. MK Party Member of Parliament calls Munir Palapala a toothless dog over state capture. Wow. After an MK Party MP labeled President Ramaphosa a toothless dog, one of his deputy ministers came to his defense, arguing that the president is not immune to prosecution. Only he is. He's not being prosecuted for his alleged crimes. Wow. The MP has accused Ramaphosa of having played a part in state capture. MK MP Talente Kupeka said the special investigating unit should look into Ramaphosa for answers on state capture given his current and former official roles. Well, I agree. 100%. He has escaped the state capture. Funny how he was deputy president, but none of it falls on him. Louis Liebenberg's bail hearings tomorrow. Well, he already said he didn't want bail, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not a dictator. I'm the outgoing EFF president, says Malema with an eye on farming. What? Julius Malema is the outgoing president of the EFF? Woo. By the way, we're now 6 minutes and 28 seconds into the broadcast. I didn't play my music, and we only have 32 people here. See what happens when I don't play the music? So thank you all for that idea. We have the smallest audience we've had this week right now. And what did I do different? I did not play the music. That's what I did differently. Anyway. So, I'm not a dictator. I'm the outgoing president of the EFF, says Julius Malema. Outgoing? Well, I think we're all pretty excited to hear that. But is this real? Not really. So, EFF leader Julius Malema says he's outgoing president of the party, rubbishing claims he's a dictator. If he's not reelected next month as a leader, he will go back to farming. Back to farming? When did this clown ever farm? A dictator will have all the reasons to say, no, let's go to a conference and see how this thing goes. Not go to conference. You can just deny by using the dynamics. This guy, I don't know what the hell he says half the time. We don't do that because we're not dictators. We're the most democratic organization, but very decisive, and that doesn't allow ill discipline. Well, he says they're the only party that actually has a party conference to select its leaders. That's simply not true. That is simply not true. The Democratic Alliance, the Freedom Front Plus, also have party conferences in which they select their leaders and people vote democratically. Yeah, that may not be the case for Action SA, for the Patriotic Alliance, or for MK, which he highlights, but it certainly is the case for other political parties. So once again, Julius Malema is talking out of his backside. Well, the gloves come off. Zuma is inviting me to fight back with him. I'm not scared, says Julius Malema. Juju. Oh my goodness. EFF leader Julius Malema says he was not intimidated by the former president and current MK party leader Jacob Zuma, adding that he's ready to fight. Malema was speaking on the party's podcast, and the interview was made available on the party's social media platforms. It's not the first time he's inviting me back to fight with him, and I'll do it. I'll do it with ease. I'm not scared of Zuma or his people. Oh, sounds like Joe Biden. Yeah, I'd like to kick his ass. Corn Pop's a tough dude. Corn Pop knows juju. Oh my goodness. We're going through a political season of madness. Indeed we are, if you're a member of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Julius Malema in the news everywhere today. EFF is going through a season of madness, and there's nothing its leader or its cohort can do about it. That's how Malema characterized the recent mass exodus of senior party leaders. In a frank discussion with national spokesman Leanne Mattis on the party's podcast this morning, he has for the first time admitted that he was hurt by former EFF strongman Floyd Shivambu's departure from the party. He also likened the turbulence of his party was going through to the festive season. We're going through a particular period as an organization where the organization cleanses itself, renews itself, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we warned in one of our political overviews that this is going to be a period of madness where people act in a crazy way and you're all shocked. No, we're all delighted. We're not shocked. We're delighted. Exactly, Shawnee. Here we are, 9 minutes in, and now we're up to 52 people, which is about 60% of the normal audience. So, yeah. So we usually have 80 to 100 or more, and it took 9 minutes to get here. See? Oh, don't play music, Chris. Now people are going to keep coming. Hey, what about this? What about this? And I've already covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 news stories, and people are just arriving. But some of those people say, what about this? What about this? And I'll have to interrupt and go, I already covered that. The South African Football Association president, Danny Jordan, appeared in court after his arrest. There he is in the docket. He's with his two co-accused, SAFA Chief Financial Officer Rene Luyo and journalist businessman Trevor Nicklin. Jordan told the court that he had not been arrested at his home. I did not hand myself over. Police came to my house and brought me to this court. Well, he was arrested at home. Danny Jordan appearing in the docket, but that's not the only thing about Danny Jordan. He says there's no step-aside rule in football. That's true, but the step-aside rule for the ANC doesn't apply to the ANC, so why should the SAFA care about it? South African Football Association Vice President Bennett Bailey says fraud-accused Danny Jordan will not vacate his position. Yeah, because there's no step-aside rule. Well, that's fine. That's fair. Yep. Why should he step aside? He's accused, not convicted. Innocent until proven guilty. But something tells me inside he's guilty. It's 11:11, 11:14. 11 in the morning, 11 minutes after the hour on the 11th month, the 14th day. So we missed the 11-11-11 on. I should do that annually, just do Remembrance Day. But, it's a different time. Or do it in Europe. Right. Civil society organizations disagree with Minister in the Presidency, Ntshavheni, who rubbished the deal by Malatsi to withdraw the SABC bill. 3 civil society organizations dispute Minister Ntshavheni's assertion that Minister Solé Malatsi cannot withdraw the controversial SABC bill. In fact, he can. The minister from the DA announced he'd written to the National Assembly to withdraw the bill. So, Malatsi said to withdraw the bill in terms of National Assembly Rule 334, which states, hey, Ronaldo's back. Hey, welcome back for your membership, Ronaldo. And you've kept your long-term icon. It must have, for some reason, not there for a couple of days. Thanks for coming back, Ronaldo. By the way, Ronaldo, you did a video earlier. I took a quick gander at it. It's something I've covered many times, so I didn't really finish listening to it. It sounded pretty good, but talking about how many cops are actually out there. I've talked about this many times. I tried to get Johnny Steinberg to come on the program a couple of years ago to discuss it with me. I've been talking about the number of police that South Africa's had since the 2010 FIFA World Cup and how you don't really have 187,000 cops. You've got supervisors, you've got administrators, you've got mechanics in the motor pool, you've got trainers, you've got people who aren't patrolling. On any given day, you're lucky to have 40,000 law enforcement officers actually working at one time. You're lucky. Because remember, they have to work in shifts. And red, green, amber, like military and police, you have 1/3 of force on, 1/3 of force off, 1/3 of force preparing. And so, yeah, I don't know if that's where your video went, Ronaldo. If it did, thanks for bringing the topic up. It's a timely topic to talk about. Spoke to former colleague, at least 30,000 a day on the ground. There you go. What did I just say? 40,000. Okay. See, that was my estimate. So, it's the people who rubbish, what I do here. There you go. Ronaldo and I have not talked, and I didn't watch this entire video, but that's a figure. You've heard me say it here before. You're lucky to have 40,000. So if it's 38,000, that's kind of what I expected. And that's for 63 million people. Now, you do it per capita. The number of police in South Africa is shockingly low. And they're not concentrated where they need to be, in KZN, in Durban, in Gauteng, in Johannesburg, and in the Cape Flats. They're not concentrated there, which is unfortunate because that's where the biggest need is. And they have difficulty reaching the Karoo, the Northern Cape, places like that. So, Ronaldo, thank you for confirming that. That's awesome. That's a figure I've been going with for several years. I haven't changed it because I haven't changed the actual number. Now, SAPS was at 144,000 police officers back in the day, but they surged and added more cops to deal with the 2010 FIFA World Cup, and then briefly dipped and came back up. But about 187,000 is the last time I checked. So I did hear you say that. I watched enough of your video before I had to do something else that you said something like 180,000. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But the SABC bill can die. Well, a wrongful death lawsuit is going forward in Hawaii for the death of a former KZN rugby player who was killed in a confrontation with police. The wrongful death lawsuit over the killing of former South African rugby player Lindani Mnyeni is set to take place in 2025. There's Lindani with his wife Lindsay. I'm sorry. Wow, that racism is really rampant in South Africa. White lady married to a black dude and having mixed race kids. How is that even possible in a racist society? Oh, that's because South Africans generally aren't racist. It's the politicians who are the racist. Okay, we've sorted that out now. He died at the age of 29, fatally wounded in a scuffle with police officers. His widow, Lindsay Mnyeni, filed a wrongful death lawsuit following his death. And it could be 26 million rand settlement. Honolulu police have denied that they acted abusively or abused their power or that their response to him was racially motivated. Bickerton said Lindsay is merely seeking peace and acknowledgement that the situation could have been handled better by police. Perhaps that is the case. Well, the Lembombo border crossing with Mozambique is open, is closed. It's open, it's closed. But South Africa's DIRCO is advising people not to go to Mozambique on holiday. One of my viewers came on here about a week ago and asked me if they should go to Mozambique. They had reservations for the end of the month. I said, unless you have if you have a prepaid deposit, then I wouldn't cancel if you can't get your money back yet. I'd wait and see for developments. But it appears that things are not calming down in Mozambique. They did initially for a few days, and my advice was correct. But now I will issue my own travel advisory for people not to travel to Mozambique in the immediate future until this situation is resolved. It's not going away. The losing candidate is stirring up trouble and threatening violence. He's not saying that, but that's essentially what's coming about. So I would just stay away from it for now, folks. Stay away from Mozambique for now. And to the person who asked me for that advice when I gave it, it was legitimate at the time, and I would have stood by it. I would have traveled there with you if that were the situation. But the circumstances on the ground have changed, and I now advise people to not travel to Mozambique. Well, raids. We're talking about food poisoning. We're waiting for Munir Palapala to do his address to the nation, which I suspect will be on Sunday. But in the meantime, people are looking all over for this dodgy food production. We've seen the star tuna, star fish cans that are just expired being repackaged as Woolworths food by dodgy people. Here's Cape Town sausage facility that's sparking concerns about food safety and spazas. Look at that. Look at that disgusting place where they're making sausages. Ugh, no sanitation whatsoever. Disgusting, filthy, and selling it to unsuspecting people. Community leaders appealed for regular checks of food in shops and factories following the City of Cape Town's raid on a facility that was processing and packaging sausages in unhygienic conditions in Mtshavheni. This follows suspected food poisoning scare last week in which 20 pupils from Mtshavheni were taken to hospital after complaining about stomach cramps. This is a reason for government. This is one reason why government should exist. Government has a role here in food safety, but they're not getting the job done. They're simply not getting the job done, and that's unfortunate. Well, Rossi Erasmus has named his team for the clash at Twickenham this weekend on Saturday when the Springboks take on England, a team reeling from an unnecessary loss to New Zealand and then another loss following that back-to-back. England is in trouble. They're struggling mightily, and the Springboks should take advantage of it. But the Springboks going with a conservative lineup here with a 5-3 split between backs and forwards. And Wilco Louw makes his return to the Boks. Yeah, so no Willie Leroux, no Makazole Mapimpi, and no Jaden Hendrickson. However, Grant Williams gets the start with Mani Lubbock. And then off the bench, we have Kobus Reinach coming in along with Andre Pollard. Lukan Yuam also starts on the bench for the Boks this weekend. Well, the BRICS offered Turkey membership, or at least partner status. Turkey's offered partner country status by the BRICS group of nations, according to their trade minister. Turkey's a NATO member, recently voiced interest in joining BRICS. Interesting. Well, they've been trying to join the European Union for decades, and the European Union is bigoted and racist against Turkey, and so they've refused to let them into the European Union, and now they're going to turn to the Southern Hemisphere. Well, that was a dumb move by the EU. Yes, Herodis, more Kobus Reinach, please. Agreed 100%. But Grant Williams, both of them are cut from the same cloth. They're very fast. They're great ball handlers, and both of them can spark a change in the direction of a game. Iran hangs a man for the second time. Wow. 26-year-old man was hung for a second time months after his execution was halted 30 seconds into his hanging. Ahmed Alizadeh was arrested in October 2018 on a murder charge, which he denies. He was sentenced to death. His death sentence was carried out on April 27th at the Genzal Hisar prison in Karaj outside of Tehran. But 28 seconds into the hanging, he was brought down from the gallows when the victim's family suddenly shouted, "Forgiveness!" His lifeless body was successfully resuscitated and the execution was halted. Under Iran's Sharia law, a victim's family can ask for blood money to spare the life of a perpetrator or decide to forgive. He remained under the threat of death penalty or the absence of any deal with the victim's family for blood money, and he was again executed Wednesday morning. Wow. Ahmed Alizidia, a talented student, was hanged for a second time on charges of murder, which he denied and claimed he confessed to under torture, said the International Human Rights Director Mahmoud Ami Moghadam, denouncing the execution machine of Iran's regime. Wow. Executed a second time. How cruel is that to do that to someone? You hang them, you resuscitate them, you leave them in prison for 6 months, and then you hang them again. What a sick world. What a sick world. Malaysia protesting Philippines' assertion of its rights to maritime domain. You should turn your attention to China, Malaysia. Out of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia will send a protest note to the Philippines over its new maritime laws due to the overlapping claims in the South China Sea. The protest will follow a complaint from China over the Philippines Maritime Zones Act and the Archipelago Sea Lanes Act. Well, I appreciate that Malaysia is concerned about the Philippines' overarching concerns, but it's China that has real issues here, and you should focus on China primarily. United States election of Trump leaves Ukraine scrambling for money. The grifter-in-chief, Volodymyr Zelensky, doesn't know where to get his money now that the gravy train looks like it will dry up under Donald Trump. Although his intentions remain unclear, Kyiv is trying to secure as much of the aid as promised by Washington. Yeah. Wow. Pentagon spokesman Pat Ryder said the U.S. had delivered 83% of munitions, 67% of critical air defense, and 60% of firepower capabilities committed to Ukraine under defense packages between April and mid-October. Yes, look at that. Huge chunks of Ukraine still under Russian control. And look forward to Russia simply annexing this area sometime soon. Wow. European Union has fined Facebook's parent company Meta $840 million over abusive practices that benefit Facebook Marketplace over other markets. The European Commission has fined Meta for breaching EU antitrust rules by tying its online classified ad service Facebook Marketplace to its personal social network, Facebook, and by imposing unfair trading conditions on other online classified ad providers. Meta said it will appeal the decision. $840 million. The European Union is very good at imposing fines on foreign companies, but they don't do so to European monopolies. Isn't that interesting? European Union's body is simply a protectionist marketplace that protects against competitors getting involved. Well, COP29 is going poorly in Azerbaijan. Yes, COP29 is underway, and Argentina is withdrawn from the summit. Argentine negotiators represent the government of the climate science denier, in other words, a rational human being, Javier Milei, have been ordered to withdraw from the COP29 summit after only 3 days, adding to concerns about stability of the Paris Agreement. More than 80 representatives from the South American country are in Baku for 2 weeks of negotiations. But Argentina's far-right leader has previously called the climate crisis a socialist lie, and during his campaign last year, he threatened to withdraw from the Paris Agreement, though he has since backed down. Well, he should withdraw from the Paris Agreement because it doesn't make China pay for it. Well, United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres is once again showcasing his incompetence and his illegitimacy on the world stage. At the climate summit, he says, "Pay up or humanity will pay the price," threatening the developed countries of the world, blaming us for the crisis when China is the biggest polluter on the planet, but blaming us for it. Yes, he wants us to pay up. Ooh, the sound you hear is a ticking clock, said Gutierrez. We're in the final countdown to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees, and time is not on our side. This sounds very familiar. The oceans are melting, the polar bears are starving, and the world is coming to an end in the year 2010. That'll be Al Gore. And then, of course, we have, all these other climate zealots who've told us the world is over. Unfortunately, they don't keep track of the fact that actually mitigating factors have had an impact on reducing carbon output. It's China, India, Brazil who are pumping out the carbon and polluting the planet in massive numbers. And the United States continues to reduce its carbon emissions year over year. But hey, let's just conveniently ignore that fact and blame the wealthy. Well, France is also shunning the COP29 conference as divisions deepen at the summit. Wow. France and Argentina have withdrawn their top negotiators. The move by France, a champion of the UN strategy to fight climate change, came after the host country, President Ilham Aliyev used a speech. By the way, he's been a dictator. He's been in power forever. At the event to accuse the regime of President Emmanuel Macron of brutally killing citizens during protests in New Caledonia. Well, that wasn't very smart of Azerbaijan, a chance to showcase itself on the world stage, and he puts his foot in his mouth. Not so smart. Well, speaking of apologies, Norway has apologized for the indigenization and crushing of the indigenous culture of the Sami people, the reindeer herders, and other indigenous groups in Norway as part of its racist policy of eliminating their cultural identity. A policy of Norwegianization silenced the languages of indigenous people and forced their children into boarding schools. The long-awaited apology avoided the issue of land rights. Of course it did. The Norwegians aren't going to give up land. They'll tell us to give up land, but they won't give up their land. For more than a century, Norway forcibly suppressed the language and culture of indigenous people and other minority groups, including removing children from their parents in a system of Norwegianization whose devastation continues to be felt. Sounds an awful lot like the Carlisle Industrial School and what the leftists in America did to Native Americans here. The racist leftists, the racist Democrats who controlled our government took Indians from the Hopi and the Navajo and the Sioux and all these different groups and brought their kids to these schools like the one here in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where they taught them to be good little white kids. Yes, and live in our society. What a racist position. What a horrible. Same thing Botswana does with the Basarwa, the San people, forcing them out of the central Kalahari so they have it for their own tourism and mining development, and forcing them onto, squalor camps where teen pregnancy, drug use, and alcoholism are rampant because their life has been disrupted. They're no longer hunter-gatherers. This racist policy and this cultural genocide of the Sami people that's taking place in Botswana is overlooked by most of the world. It's one of the reasons why Australian lecturer, what's his name, Kenneth Good, I think it was banned from Botswana because he had the audacity to challenge the government repeatedly on this. And they didn't like that, so they banned him from Botswana. Wow. So the move by Parliament approved on Tuesday was welcomed by Celia Karine Mutoka, a Sami leader who described the moment as a day with many emotions. But she also said it needed to be followed up with concrete and significant action. Agreed. Apologies mean nothing. Going forward, we expect active policy of reconciliation. The decision from today ensures long-term follow-up, but it has both financial and legal repercussions. Unfortunately, no settlement is made with ongoing injustice and conflicts over land and water. Yep. The apology and resolution stem from a report by a Truth and Reconciliation Commission published last year that outlines how Norway could begin to reckon with its oppressive past. King Harald V previously apologized to Sami people, but this first time that the Kvens and Forest Finns have received such public acknowledgement of the harm they endured. The assimilation policy was historically pursued, continues to be the root of personal hardship for the individuals and groups that were subject to this policy, and a source of conflict today, said Sven Harberg, Conservative Party lawmaker. Wow. Yeah, conservatives standing up for the rights of minorities. Don't you love it? So here is the image of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Norway. They're the ones investigating Norwegianization of the Sami and others. Kven. Bombings taking place at government building in Brazil yesterday. Good Lord, what is happening? It's believed to be a lone wolf terrorist attack. It resulted in several explosions in the capital of Brasilia. Political malcontent set off a series of explosives in Brazilian capital Wednesday evening, killing himself and reviving fears over the strength of democracy in a country that has been addled by misinformation, is still reeling from a large-scale attack on its federal buildings last year after the 2022 presidential elections. At 7:30 p.m., a car exploded outside the Congress's lower chamber. Less than a minute later, more explosions rattled Supreme Court offices. A man was found dead outside the Supreme Court, having apparently killed himself. They've identified him as Francisco Wanderlei Luiz, 59, a small-time conservative politician from the southern Brazilian state of Santa Catarina, who had lambasted the left in social media, announced plans to launch an attack in Brazil's capital in a plot to preserve freedom. Well, that's a bit crazy. That's a bit crazy. China has moved into the vacuum not just of Africa, but in America's own backyard, violating the Monroe Doctrine. It's time for the Commander-in-Chief Joe Biden to wake up from his slumber and assert American dominance and suzerainty over the Americas once again. Yes, I said it. That's right. China opens a huge port in Peru, extending its reach in Latin America, a place it had no real influence until recently. Chinese leader Xi Jinping will inaugurate a huge port in Peru on Thursday, today, expected to attract more than $3 billion in investment to create a direct route across the Pacific and extend Beijing's influence across Latin America. Well done, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, for ignoring U.S. diplomatic interest in Latin America. And maybe even Donald Trump you could throw into that for ignoring it. Republicans have successfully maintained their trifecta. They have won the House of Representatives, although Donald Trump's selections have placed that in jeopardy. The party protected valuable incumbents and picked off Democrats in competitive districts, handing the president-elect a unified Congress to enact his agenda. Unfortunately, 218 is not going to be enough because Donald Trump has chosen 3 members of the House of Representatives, Waltz, Gates, and Stefanik, all of whom will have to give up their seats. Gates has already resigned, so 218 is really 217. We don't have a majority at the moment. Republicans have maintained that trifecta, but as I said, they made a huge mistake here, Donald Trump, and you better hope that we win the other races. And an update of the vote count, which continues days after the election, approaching 2 weeks now since the election's been over, Donald Trump maintains a majority of the population in the popular vote over Kamala Harris, and he has extended his lead now by about 30,000 more votes as the votes come in from California and elsewhere. Donald Trump now has 75,887,000 votes, historic number, the most he's ever received, having won 31 states, flipped 6 states from Biden Democrats back to conservative Republicans, and won the Electoral College convincingly 312 to 226. If you take out California's 54 electoral votes, wow, that takes Kamala Harris down under 200. California makes all the difference in the world, one state. So Trump wins decisively. At this hour, 9 races remain outstanding, but the Republicans on paper have a majority, although Gates has resigned. So 9 undecided, and the Republicans have the front edge for 2 more seats, Alaska 1 and California 13, which would take them to 220, but that's still short of the majority because 3 members of the House are being pulled out. They have a slight lead in Iowa 1, where Miller Meeks is maintaining a lead of over 800 votes, with almost all the votes counted. And in California 45th District, Steele has a slight lead with 329 votes. That's down from about 800 himself, and Meeks went up from 300 to 800. And Maine, and Ohio, Oregon, California, and another California district still remain outstanding, but all in favor of the Democrats at this stage. The Republicans probably will not run 3 of those. They could win 4 of the remaining, 2, 4, 6 potentially of the remaining 9 seats, but they're probably going to win just 4 at best. There you have it. That's the situation in the House of Representatives at this hour on November 14th, nearly 2 weeks after the election. Well, a week and a half anyway. An appeals court has upheld a ban on Indiana's transgender procedures for minors. Wow. A federal appeals court on November 13th in a split decision upheld an Indiana law that bans gender surgeries and other transition procedures for minors. U.S. District Court judge incorrectly found previously the plaintiffs who sued over the law would be irreparably harmed by not being able to access puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones if the law were not blocked. So, it has been struck. It's been banned. You can't do it in Indiana. And that's reason stands up. Trump, whoops, that's the wrong button. Trump sends shockwaves through D.C. by picking Matt Gaetz as his attorney general. This will be a very contentious pick, and we're likely to see Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski abandon the Republicans and vote against this nomination. If he's lucky, Matt Gaetz will slide through the Senate with 50 or 51 votes. Yep. President-elect Donald Trump waited until after he left Washington to stun the town. Hours after a cordial meeting with Joe Biden, he was back on his way to Florida. He announced Matt Gaetz sending shockwaves. The lawyer from Florida turned professional politician, Matt Gaetz, has served briefly in the private sector as an attorney, but most of his public life has been as a member of the political class. So Joe, Jersey mom, news junkie, Lebanese hothead, bleachy blonde there. So maybe someday women in America will have as many rights as guns do. Republicans, you were told you were okay with him bragging about sexual assault. They're okay with him extorting a foreign nation, okay with him enriching himself on the presidency. Okay, all of those are lies. This woman is demented. Actually demented. I don't know who she is, Joe. She's kind of creepy looking. I mean, this is a really creepy looking photograph here, folks. What do you think? Is that creepy looking? I think some of you might think she's hot. I think she's creepy looking. It's all makeup and bleach. And creepy looking. The eyes look like silver dollars. So I don't know, what did you want me to look at? She's just got, oh, here she is. Wasn't about the price of eggs. Here you go.
Rapist, convicted.
Oh, here you go.
So you want me to believe that you voted for a racist, rapist, convicted felon, business fraud who incited a deadly attack on our capital after...
Wow. How many lies can you get in one sentence? Rapist, untrue. Convicted felon, untrue. Incited riot, untrue. Wow, these people are really crazy. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that, but not really of interest to me, but I will keep an eye on it. Thank you for that, Ronaldo. There are some creepy people in America. Well, Trump picks Matt Gaetz and a host of others as the slew of announcements come out. Tulsi Gabbard for the Director of National Intelligence, and he's daring the Senate to defy him, says the Washington Post. Trump's decision to tap Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, Tulsi Gabbard for Intelligence, and Pete Hegseth for Defense will test the Republican-led Senate's fealty to the president-elect. Yes, it will. Yes, it will, because they will probably rubbish Pete Hegseth. They will certainly rubbish Tulsi Gabbard out of revenge because the Democrats hate her for betraying them because she left the party. So Trump named all these guys. So look at there. Gabbard and Gaetz joined Trump's pick to lead the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth, a Fox News Weekend co-host who lobbied Trump to pardon military service members accused of war crimes as choices who would be certain to face near universal opposition from Democrats and have some Republicans expressing concern. Yes, some Republicans will abandon us, and the election of John Thune shows you that Trump has rough sailing ahead as a rhino takes over the Senate leadership. Well, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, everyone thinks they're going to cut trillions from the federal budget. Dream on. No matter how good they are cutting the budget, only 18 cents of the dollar is discretionary. They can't cut 82 cents. So much for that. And given that of the discretionary budget, a huge chunk of it is defense, that's not going away. So the Department of Government Efficiency, he's already created a Twitter page. And within moments of creating, he had 1 million followers on this page. Now it's 1.1 million. Look at that. 1.1 million, including Hendo and Riley Gaines and me. So he only had 2 tweets when I joined it, and now he's got a few more. So there you go. 3 tweets now. Yep. So Doge. We'll see how that goes. The irony of creating a government agency to reduce the size of government agencies is not lost on me. Well, the top general is facing a brewing storm because Pete Hegseth said this guy's got to go. General Brown called a diversity hire by Hegseth. Brown was thrust in the heart of a brewing storm Tuesday when President-elect Donald Trump nominated Pete Hegseth, an Army veteran and Fox News host, to become Defense Secretary days after Hegseth suggested firing Brown and other senior officers over what he described as a woke agenda undermining U.S. military strength. Well, agreed, 100%. That's exactly what they're doing. So, we have talked about the resistance. Most journalists have simply ignored this. Even Fox News is moving on from it. But I will not move on from the fact that members of our government are actively undermining the governance of the federal government with a planned resistance movement to the Democratic elected administration of Donald Trump. And this includes scumbag billionaire Pritzker from Illinois and moron from Colorado, Paulus. We've heard Newsom already run his mouth, Kathy Hochul run her mouth, and that useless governor of Massachusetts run her mouth. These people are gearing up. We've heard reports in the news media, I have no confirmation, the news media reporting this, of secret meetings in the Pentagon trying to find ways to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump. Well, we know that that happened before. Milley did that. Milley undermined the presidency of Donald Trump, actively did it. And so I'm not surprised it's happening now. But these people need to be exposed for the frauds and illegitimate political leaders they are. And whatever process it takes to remove them, whether it's a recall or an impeachment, it needs to be done to these people because they are not true to their oath to the nation. Democratic governors create a coalition to push back against Trump policies. The announcement follows vows by some Democratic Party leaders to uphold policies related to abortion, climate diversity programs, and LGBT issues. The governors of Illinois and Colorado, both demon rats, have announced the formation of a new alliance to resist President-elect Donald Trump's policies. The alliance, named Governors Safeguarding Democracy, is being built as a nonpartisan coalition of governors who work together to prevent authoritarianism. They're using an authoritarian approach, an undemocratic approach, to combat authoritarianism that does not exist. These are dangerous political actors who must be exposed, and the first misstep they make that violates the law, they must be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Wow, this is unbelievable. Can you believe that this, in a democratic society, a group of subordinate political leaders at lower level in a federal system have organized an active resistance to evade, violate, and fail to follow the central government? Wow. 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 So here it is. This is governors safeguarding democracy, more like governors stealing democracy. Press release, governors launch initiative Protect American Democracy. Governors shithead Pritzker and dipshit Paulus launch a nonpartisan governors initiative to fortify essential democratic rights nationwide. Now, My question to Polis and my question to dipshit Pritzker is, where the fuck were you when the White House, the National Institutes for Health, the CDC, the Defense Department, the Justice Department, all colluded, cajoled, and coerced tech companies to silence Americans in violation of the First Amendment to the Constitution? Where were you then in defending democracy? Where were you in defending democracy when people lost their jobs, were discharged from the military with a dishonorable discharge or other than honorable discharge for refusing to take an experimental jab? Where were you then? Where were you safeguarding democratic rights then, Pritzker and Polis? You were nowhere, because you were part and parcel to the criminal regime that ran Washington, and extension through Harrisburg, through Albany, through Illinois, through Colorado. You are part and parcel of the undemocratic process. You are not safeguarding anything except your privilege and your arrogance, and you will be exposed. I will make it my mission to expose Pritzker and Polis and all these scumbags on the political left who seek to undermine the government. These are people running around and spent a year. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. I'm sorry. Did Donald Trump not participate in a free and fair political process known as the primary season and win an overwhelming majority of delegates, and then nominated by his political party to be their candidate and appearing on the ballots of all 50 states and the territories, despite the scumbag, criminal, illegal, illegitimate efforts of Colorado and Maine to remove him from the ballot and interfere with our election? You talk about interfering with democracy. You talk about safeguarding democracy. Colorado attempted to remove Donald Trump from the ballot over bullshit, bogus allegation that he was ineligible over their determination about what happened on January 6th, over which they have no authority. These people are not safeguarding democracy. They are a threat to democracy. These are the same people who said Trump was a threat to democracy. He was democratically elected. And then they stole a nomination from sleepy, creepy Joe Biden, who's busy soon headed back to the beach of Rehoboth smelling the legs of little kids. Yeah, Joe Biden won 14.5 million votes, and they simply snatched the nomination away from him and handed it to the dumbest box of rocks that ever existed, Kamala Harris. And then lost an election in which they spent $1 billion. $1 billion, and they're in debt. Why? Because they hired useless celebrities who like to lick donuts and act like fools and call everybody racist and bigots because they won't vote for a woman who's not black, because we're supposed to vote for a black woman. She's not black. We're supposed to vote for her because she's a woman. Why should I vote for a woman just because she's a woman? Good Lord. Give me a break. These people are a threat to democracy, and I will expose them at every turn. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the faces of Trump's incoming administration so far. Vice President, of course, J.D. Vance elected. Chief of Staff is Susie Wiles. His nomination for UN Ambassador is Elise Stefanik, representative from New York. Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, former legislator Lee Zeldin, and a candidate for governor of New York. The National Security Advisor is Mike Waltz, a member of the Congress who will have to leave it up. Director of CIA is former Representative John Ratcliffe. Secretary of Defense, Fox News co-host Pete Hegseth. Homeland Security, that's Governor Kristi Noem. As Secretary of State, Senator Marco Rubio. Director of National Intelligence, former Representative Tulsi Gabbard. And Attorney General Matt Gaetz from the House of Representatives. Well, there you go. Hey, Sandy Hunt, how's it going? Got any more kids' books to narrate? So, 51 Biden laptop deniers in danger of losing their security clearance because they lied about this. Wow. Several Republican lawmakers want Congress to strip the security clearances of dozens of former intelligence officials who worked against President Trump in 2020 by asserting that information in the laptop of Hunter Biden was Russian disinformation. They've called for the accountability from 51 intelligence officials who were accused of helping Democratic President Joe Biden. Senator Lindsey Graham said it should be an option to yank the officials' security clearances. Right, why do they get a clearance? They're not even in the government anymore. I think they should scrub all the legacy clearances to see whether the people need them and have them, for what purpose, unless they're working for a company in a role that makes sense. They should be taken away, said Darrell Issa of California. Most on that list, I would include that scrubbing. I agree, 100%. These people include former CIA Director General Michael Hayden, now an analyst for CNN. Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, also a general, now CNN contributor. Former CIA head and Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, who runs a Public Policy Institute. Former CIA Director John Brennan, a communist, currently an analyst for MSNBC. Former National Intelligence Counsel Thomas Finger, who now teaches at Stanford. And Rick Leggett, former National Security Agency Deputy Director, now a Director at MT Bank. These all people who are treasonous to the United States, who interfered in the 2020 election by lying and using their reputation illegitimately to lie about Russian information, which they knew full well it was Hunter Biden's laptop. So, there you have it. New York plans to revive the ridiculous congestion toll of $9 to drive into Manhattan. These people are sick. Governor Kathy Hochul, a socialist moron in chief, is expected to announce a revised program with the aim of putting it in place before Trump takes office. The once abandoned plan for the nation's first congestion pricing program, but at a reduced rate of $9 for most vehicles enter Midtown and Lower Manhattan. The new plan will be fast-tracked for implementation. It would go in before the Metropolitan Transit Authority Board approval next week and take effect before Trump becomes president. Well, New York, shameful thieves. There's a reason why Manhattan has so much traffic. It's popular. Don't punish people for its popularity. Well, Alex Jones is out on his ear. He's going to have to find someplace else to peddle his stories and his commentary because Infowars now belongs to the ridiculous satire site, The Onion. Satirical website joins with families of those lost children in the Sandy Hook massacre to acquire followers. Arctic gives a 40 Rand super chat saying, give us your opinion on each appointment. Well, Arctic, I've done that every time I've done a broadcast. Please wait. I'll address your super chat in full when I finish these stories, which is I'm near to doing. And I'll talk about it. I've given my opinion on all these appointments as they were announced and also done it on the radio program, but I will do it again because you super chatted. So The Onion is, of course, a satirical news site that says it bought Infowars. Well, the Washington Post also reports this. The sale ends Alex Jones' 25-year run controlling a conspiracy theorist website that peddled claims of Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax. So Infowars is no more. It now belongs to The Onion, and they swear that they're going to make a joke of it. Yep. It gives them control of Infowars' website, its archive, its mailing list, and production equipment, along with other assets. Wow. They are going to destroy it, is what they said. Yep. See if I can find where it said that at. It's fitting that a platform once used to profit off a tragedy will be a tool of education, said John Feinblatt, president of Everytown for Gun Security. Well, I think that dude, Dan Bilzerian, will probably take exception to that because I'm sure that John Feinblatt is probably Jewish. He must be controlling the country. Dan Bilzerian, that guy's a wackadoodle, man. I talked about that last night, too. Oof, man. So the trustee administering the auction of the assets said the assets of Infowars' parent company, Free Speech Systems, designated the joint bid by Global Tetra, the Onion's owner, along with the Connecticut families, as the winning bidder. This is complicated. Anyway, they're going to Everytown for Gun Safety, the largest gun control, gun banning group in the country, signed a multi-year advertising agreement with Onion and will serve as exclusive advertiser during the site's relaunch. Everytown said it would use Infowars to raise awareness about gun violence prevention and other public safety initiatives. And look forward to Infowars going the way of Air America. No one will watch it, no one will listen to it, and it will crash and burn. Infowars site is down. Well, then they took it down already. Yep. They're going to relaunch it. So, according to the Washington Post, voter turnout is near the 2020 record as votes continue to come in from the West Coast. We're approaching the total of 2020. There are some states that have had high turnout, others that have dropped. Washington State's turnout dropped by 5%. California's dropped by over 1%. Oregon's dropped, stayed a little bit about the same. Minnesota had a lower turnout as well. Pennsylvania had a higher turnout. Texas had about the same. So, yeah, it's mixed reaction across the country. Well, white supremacists reportedly protest the Michigan performance of an Anne Frank play with Nazi flags outside an American Legion. Can you believe this? Wow. So a group of white supremacist demonstrators protested a performance of the play The Diary of Anne Frank in Howell, Michigan by waving Nazi flags from across the street. The performance held Saturday at American Legion Post 141 was put on by the Fowlerville Community Theater. Wow. The white supremacist protesters originally demonstrated in the American Legion parking lot, but were asked to leave around 7:40. They were wearing masks with the number 1488 on it. White supremacist symbol referring to a 14-word slogan initials. I had no idea. That's the first time I ever heard of that. Former commander of the American Legion Post, U.S. veteran Bobby Bright, posted a video on the protesters, a Nazi flag standing next to police. Well, it's interesting that this article fails to mention how many of these neo-Nazis were there. How many? They usually do that. They fail to tell us because usually we're talking about 2 or 3 people, not a threat to anybody. Okay, back to the super chat. Okay, let's go through it, and I'm going to look at the image so that I don't forget anybody. So let me go back to that. Who is the Washington Post? I think had a good layout for this too. I've got the Epoch Times layout. Washington Post. Let me see if I can't find that. The election. Wow, where's the election at now? I can't find the election. Washington Post has changed all their stuff. There we go. Election, and I'm looking for Trump's cabinet. They don't have that image anymore. They had it. Well, I guess I'll have to go to the Epic Times. That's fine. I'll do that. Okay, so the Epic Times, 11 of 27 cabinet positions or key figures announced. So J.D. Vance, that's who he had. Susie Wiles, I think a brilliant pick as the chief of staff. Elise Stefanik, ambassador to the United Nations, I think it's a dumb move. She's a very strong member of the House of Representatives, and her voice is needed there. The UN ambassador is of no consequence whatsoever. Linda Thomas Greenfield, do you know who she is? She's our UN ambassador right now. Never heard of her. I know her personally. She's a Democrat. And of course, we saw how useless the UN ambassador was when Nikki Haley was there. So that's a wasted slot. They could have picked someone of not particular importance or significance to fill that slot. Administrator of the EPA, Lee Zeldin, is a very Stefanik is competent, brilliant, but I think it's a waste of talent. Lee Zeldin is a very smart guy, very solid member of Congress, conservative. If anybody can clean up the EPA, it's him. That's a good choice. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, I know less about him, but he appears to be a good choice, a veteran for that role. Director of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, he filled the role of filling in briefly as the Director of National Intelligence at the end of Trump's administration. Brilliant legislator, John Ratcliffe, a good choice to be the Director of the CIA. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, not at all convinced this is a good choice. It's a lightning rod. I think it's a person intellectually thin. I've never heard anything come out of his mouth that actually was, intelligent or insightful. He's simply a partisan guy who spent time in the Minnesota National Guard, and therefore he's supposedly an expert on defense. I'm not trashing Pete Hegseth. There are attributes of Pete Hegseth that I think will be fantastic. For instance, his attack on wokeness in the military and firing flag officers for incompetence and for political behavior is long overdue in the Pentagon. So I think that's good, but not sold on that. That'll be a lightning rod, and his confirmation might be difficult, mostly because he's a Fox News commentator. Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, I think it's brilliant. She served as a governor very successfully and has an understanding of the breadth of the scope of how big Homeland Security is with multiple agencies under her command, and has shown the ability to lead as a governor a state, albeit a much smaller state, but a similar layout of state-level agencies and a breadth of control as a leader. I think Kristi Noem is a good choice there. She's a solid, confident, strong woman, the kind of women that don't hang around Trump, according to that dumbass Mark Cuban. Marco Rubio is Secretary of State. I don't think he's a particularly good choice. He's a rhino, but he is a good lapdog, and I think he'll do what Trump tells him to do, and that's what Trump needs in a Secretary of State to execute his policy. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, a reserve officer who's risen up the ranks courtesy of her role in Congress. Combat veteran, not particularly special in any way, just popular because she's a Democrat who betrayed and left the Democrats. I have no beef or dog in the fight with her. She was the smartest presidential candidate amongst the Democrats in 2020, but that doesn't say much. The bar was incredibly low. I mean, we had the likes of Kamala Harris. We had Joe Biden in that race. Tulsi Gabbard was in it. That made her look like a genius. Pete Buttigieg was in it. He's about as dumb as a box of rocks, too. The guy looks like Alfred E. Newman, and he acts like Alfred E. Newman. Tulsi Gabbard is Director of National Intelligence. I'm not sold on that. I think John Ratcliffe would have been a better choice and put someone else in at CIA. Tulsi Gabbard, put her in charge of Labor Department or something. It really doesn't matter, but this is a wasted pick. Attorney General Matt Gaetz. This is a very shocking pick. Matt Gaetz, some of it's politically motivated, obviously, but the number of allegations of misconduct and charges against him are not insignificant. And it's a bit surprising to me that Matt Gaetz is the guy that he picked for Attorney General from a standpoint that this will be a nomination that might not get through the Senate because Thune is in charge, and Thune is not a lapdog for Trump. In fact, he's an opponent of Trump. Although he swears he's going to work with him, I'll believe that when I see it. John Thune is the second coming of Mitch McConnell, and unfortunately, we'll probably be stuck with John Thune 30 years from now like we were stuck with Mitch McConnell. We'll see. Anyway, so I don't think the Matt Gaetz pick was a particularly smart pick. From a policy standpoint, it's brilliant. I suspect that once Matt Gaetz is confirmed, if in fact that does take place, then the subpoenas will begin to be issued. There will be grand juries impaneled for the prosecution of criminals in the Biden regime and in the bureaucracy who have undermined this nation's freedom, its liberty, and the attacks on American citizens. With Matt Gaetz there, I fully expect to see, efforts to expose the role of the January 6th Commission in its crimes committed against American people, the lies it perpetrated, the propaganda, as well as members of the regime who silenced the critics of the regime, people like me who were shut down because of the direct intervention of criminals in the federal government. And that will be a positive outcome. But anyway, that's kind of where that's at. So I'm not impressed with the picks across the board. I would not have picked Stefanik for the UN. I would not have picked Hegseth for defense. I would not have picked Rubio for state. I would not have picked Gabbard for DNI, and I would not have picked Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. So that's 5 picks I wouldn't have gone with. That's the majority of his picks so far. I disagree with Trump. So for those of you who talk about MAGA and people who are diehard sycophantic supporters of Trump and don't question anything about Trump, you know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. I voted for him 3 times, once holding my nose, twice enthusiastically, and I have no compunction against voting for Donald Trump. All the lies about him aside, it doesn't mean I'm a fan of Donald Trump, and I will hold him to account. I've already holding him account on his selections here. Instead of going into a Senate where he's going to get his picks confirmed very easily, he's now set the Senate up as a challenge. Will the Senate bow to Donald Trump and bow to his direction, or will they fight back? And that's not good. Arctic gave another super chat. And I'll get to that. Or is that the first one from earlier? It just showed up. Oh, that's that one. It just showed. Oh, no, it's another one. Good take. Thanks. You're welcome, Arctic. And thank you for the other 40 Rand. And Doge. Okay, Dave Renke, I've talked about Doge as well. I just talked about it in the earlier broadcast with David Ansar. I talked about it on the radio station last night. I talked about it on every stream since it's been mentioned a couple days ago. Here's the problem with Doge. We're going to reduce the size of the government by creating a new government cabinet level ministry position and a cabinet ministry to go with it called the Department of Government Efficiency. That sounds very inefficient. Inefficient is the word. And also, again, folks, only 18 cents on the dollar. 18 cents on the dollar is discretionary. So all they can cut is from the 18 cents. You can't cut all 18 cents. Then there'll be no FAA, no one guiding planes in and out of the country. There'll be no Coast Guard patrolling our waters. There'll be no military. There'll be no federal workforce. That's insane. They talk, they like to run these projects. Well, they spent $1 million investigating the fertility of mink. They spent $3 million on art. Yeah, that's all true. But cut all that out. You're only going to get a few $100 million out of that. These guys can't come in and wield an axe. Now, there is something that can be cut out. $600 million is currently being, $1 billion is currently being spent on income to people because of COVID. COVID's over. Get over it. Stop paying people. Take an axe to that. That's $600 billion then cut out. That would slice the deficit by about 30 to 40% immediately. I don't know why that money's still being spent other than it's corrupt. But beyond that, it's going to be a very big challenge. There's not much money you can cut out. I mean, if I were in charge, the defense budget would not be nearly $900 billion. It'd be closer to about $500 billion. About $525 billion is more than enough for the Defense Department to operate functionally and to protect the nation's interests. Now, I've looked at this budget over and over again, and I could cut it to that. But then I wasn't picked. Pete Hegseth was picked so they can get rid of generals that like, men in dresses, and story time at our, youth centers for teaching sexual behavior and transgenderism to our military dependents. That's what Pete Hegseth's focus is going to be, not on operational readiness. So anyway, mine's on operational readiness, and I would go after that nonsense. So yeah, anyway. But Doge is not going to solve this. If anyone thinks that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to remove the deficit and improve government efficiency in a demonstrable way, then they don't understand how government works. And if those two believe it, then they clearly don't understand. You can bring business practices into government and you can cut with an axe, but you quickly realize that there isn't much you can cut. So I think the point is reduce government bullshit regulations more than save money. If they want to get serious about saving money, they need to reduce government employees and then it happens. No, that's not the problem, Arctic. Again, the government salaries come in that 18%. The money is spent on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Let's take a look if I can find a U.S. government spending graph, okay? 2024 federal budget pie chart. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Pie chart. Let's see. All right. Office of Personnel Management. Where does the money go? Let's see. I got 3 graphs here. Let's see what they are. All right. So that's not going to help me. Shoot. It gave me this tiny little image. Okay. This one had a chart. Where's that? There's that. Come on. I get past. There we go. All right. That's not the right chart. Okay. So let's get rid of that one. Where's the money really spent? Okay. Oh, come on. I lost it. Shoot. I got to go back now. 2024 federal budget pie chart. Okay. That's not right. 5 trillion. There we go. 6.9 trillion. It's actually 7.43. Okay. Zoom in. Let's see what this says. Okay. So, here you go. So that's the budget proposed for 2024. It's actually 7.4 trillion. I don't know where they get 6.9 trillion from. So net interest must be paid. That's 789. It's actually $1 trillion. That's incorrect. Mandatory other spending is 1.3 trillion. Medicaid 558 billion. Medicare 842 billion, and Social Security 1.5 trillion. So let's do the quick math on that and see how much of this spending is something you can't touch. So that's I'm going to say $1 trillion for net interest because it was 1 trillion. 1 trillion. 100 million. 1 trillion plus 1,335,000,000. Okay. Plus 558 billion. Whoops. Plus 842 billion. Anyway, it's a lot. I screwed up the calculator. So 1.4, 2.3, 2.8, 3, 4, 5. $5 trillion is non-discretionary. $5 trillion they have no say over. You can't cut it. So as far as trimming regulations and making them more efficient, Donald Trump did that. He didn't need a minister or czar for that. On day one, he pulled his pen out and he struck 10,000 federal regulations from the Federal Register instantaneously. And America was automatically more competitive, just like that. Just like that. So he doesn't need these people. Look, I'm fine. I have nothing against Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Good luck to you. Have fun. Have fun storming the castle, boys. I wish you all the best. But it just ain't going to happen the way that people think it is. Really. I think it's going to be Mike Johnson. What is this? Oh, who's going to be Speaker of the House? Yeah, Mike Johnson will be the Speaker of the House. That's correct, Erica. Thank you for the super chat, Erica 70 Rand. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sorry I missed that. Dropping bank rate to 2% will do oil below 65 and it's done. Yeah, no, if the interest rate goes back below 2% and oil drops below $65 a barrel, economic prosperity can come back. Is there any chance Alex Jones could be made the White House press briefer? Of course he could. I think it would be a dumb move, but they could do that. Yep, it would be very antagonistic. Old style blow lamp for burning off paint while decorating parents' house. Huh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So, Ant says, what if Turkey joins BRICS? Will they call it tricks? That's good. Tricks, that's good. No, they won't. Yeah, Turkey joins BRICS, it's going to be problematic because they're a NATO member and they're an aspirant to join the European Union. And they will close the door to the European Union forever if they do that. Am I going to watch the Mike Tyson fight, says Alan. Nope, I don't care for boxing. I've met Mike Tyson coming back from South Africa in Chicago in 2022. In fact, let me see if I can find that photograph with me with Mike Tyson. Let me see where that's at if I've got it. It's probably on this drive. Let me look and see. 2022, that would have been September of 2022. It would have been near the end of September. Let me see. Oh, here's the picture. I love this photograph. This one's cool. This is me. This one's pretty cool. Check this out. What do you guys think of this? I love this picture with this beard. This was awesome. I don't think I'll ever have that beard again or do it again, but look at that. With the cowboy hat. That's pretty cool. I can't remember where that's at. That's not at my home. That's somewhere else. Got that Springbok training jersey on. Yeah, that was a pretty cool photo. That's not what I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for the Mike Tyson. Okay, there's the plane. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Mike Tyson, man. There it is. Hang on. Pretty cool. Mike took a shot with me. It's pretty cool. Here you go. Me and Mike Tyson in Chicago at the O'Hare Airport. How cool is that, man? How cool is that? Yeah, is the onion going to be a crying shame? Erica, that's the funniest line of the day. Brian says Chris Byron Ronaldo versus Scott Balson's our own Infowar. I don't know about that. Anyway, Infowars is down, says Dave Ranke. Okay. Yeah, check it out, folks. That's me and Mike Tyson. Just an electric guitar, and you could have had a pretty good band. I don't know about that. Whoops, we need to turn that off. You don't need to see that. All right, so there you go. All right, yeah, so I won't be watching the fight. It doesn't appeal to me. Do you think Elon Musk and Vivek wanted different positions in government? I don't know what they wanted, Arctic. I really don't know what they wanted. This Doge thing is something that I got the impression that Elon wants to do. Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, has much higher ambitions. He wanted to be president. I thought maybe he'd be appointed because he's a resident of Ohio as the senator from Ohio. So I think they probably should put him in charge of something like transportation or commerce. Commerce would be a good fit for him. Yep, Alex Jones has said that if he was press secretary, he would piss off all. Then bringing YouTube to do the well, then I'm all for Alex Jones becoming the press secretary. Then I get a press pass the White House, and I'll go down there. I look like Amish in that photo. Do I really? 14-ounce gloves make me sad. Are they too small or too big? Pork Leaker said I would have supported Alex Jones the second. Well, look, if he's going to open up the press room to YouTube content creators, I'm all for it. ZZ Top. Yeah, that's what it looked like. You could have. Oh, you mean I could have guitars with that beard? I could have started a band. Yeah, that wasn't even the length. That was. It got longer than that before I cut it. Yeah, that's such a long time ago. Anyway, wow, we just had a surge here. 8 people joined. Where are you all coming from? Welcome back. We've covered the news already. Now we're just having a discussion, answering people's questions. So let me know what your questions are, and we'll do our best to answer them. Hey, I took this down for the interview I had earlier, so let's put it back up. There you go. Put that back up. We took it down because I was interviewing David Ansar, and that's kind of a political thing. I didn't think it was fair for the analysis to go on there. You'll get loads of hits, but also slated for clickbait if you put the Tyson photo up on a video. Trump picks big hitters. I should do that. I should do that. Yeah, coming in from work, busy today, says Paula. You know, actually, I should make a video with Mike Tyson and myself in it. Just do a quick, Trump picks a winning team. Mike Tyson for the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Chris Wyatt for ambassador to South Africa. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Why is Iran looking good? I think the dollar is going to look better. What do you think Trump will do in the Ukraine? I think that he'll push both sides for a ceasefire, and he'll push Ukraine to concede Crimea. And then probably, I suspect that no one will stand for this, but there might be an effort by Trump to call for a plebiscite in the Donbass. But I think that would be highly skewed because the Russians control it. It would have to be demilitarized. Both sides would have to pull out, and then they could have a plebiscite on where they want to be, Russia or Ukraine. Yep, and I don't think that'll go well for Ukraine. So I don't know. Trump will definitely take action. Joe Biden has simply poured money and he's poured fire, fuel on the fire. He's done nothing to end it. Bitcoin looks best, says Sandy. I'm not a Bitcoin fan. My earlier guest likes Bitcoin. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't find it particularly useful. Snoop Dogg for social welfare. I don't think so. It's amazing that the world seems to be falling in line since Trump is back. Of course they are, Dave, because they know better. Trump isn't going to bullshit them, and they know who Trump is. They know what Trump will do, and Trump has no reason to hold back on his threats this time. So we'll see what happens with Trump, but I expect to see some changes. But, I mean, his cabinet picks, anyway, we'll see. Slippery Pickles here. Folks are tuning in. Thanks a lot for coming in late to this. We had a good dedicated audience for most of the stream, but low numbers. Only 307 people have tuned in. I'm a little surprised by that. That's been the case all week. What's going on? I did have one video that performed well this week, and that was the one I did on Danny Jordan. It's done okay. It hasn't hit 6,000 though, so it's stagnated at 5,900. But did pick up 21 subscribers. Thank you to 21 people who found the program based on that. The stories I've done on the deputy mayor from George really aren't getting much traction, but I do want to read the following. I reached out to the Good Party when this release came out, and I wanted to do an interview. That might still be in the cards. They weren't sure. I think they misunderstood in the interview, but they did send me a statement. So I want to read that statement. Here you go. So I'll put that on the screen, and I'll read that statement for you all. This is from the Good Party by Chantel Kidd, who is a Good Party counselor in George. And I read the following. The Good Party has noted the conclusion of the Democratic Alliance internal disciplinary process of Deputy Mayor of George, Rabin Figlin. Figlin allegedly forced a schoolgirl to send him photographs of her private parts. Now, that's a very generous way to state what he did. However, an internal investigation of the DA's Federal Legal Commission had interviewed the victim, her father, and Figlin. Their initial findings defined Figlin as someone who lies without hesitation. The DA has a right to handle their internal matters as they see fit, but Figlin is not an ordinary member of the Democratic Alliance. He's a public figure who's been deployed in a senior position of power. The Good Party will continue our fight for the people of George. The Public Protector's Office has assigned an investigator to our complaint against the Deputy Mayor and the George municipality. We are anticipating a progress update before the 29th of November. We've also filed a motion to the Speaker of the George Municipality Council to reopen its probe of Figlin. However, the October council meeting was canceled. And this is a public statement for release from good Councilor Chantel Kidd in the Western Cape. As I said, I reached out to her and received a reply back from a spokesman from the Good Party. And they may, in fact, be giving me an interview. I don't know. But if we get that interview, I'll let you know about it. But in the meantime, that is what they had to say. So let me take a look and see. I might maybe have a response from them since I've been online. Let me take a look and see. No, they have not written back yet, unless it went to my spam folder, because that's where I found their mail. It was in the spam folder previously. All right, so not spam. Just making sure it's not here. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages showing up in spam that shouldn't be in spam, so I'm just looking for it. Okay, there we go. So, hang on a second here. Where is that at? Wow, I just said not spam, and it's missing. Oh, there it is. Okay, 1:46 this morning. That's why. Okay, all right, cool. Anyway, all right, cool. So, yeah, you sure it wasn't Chris? What? Sounds like typical Good Party leadership. Okay. Looks, if it's simple, if Trump gets food and gas prices down next election, it'll be a red wave again. True. I really do like Tom Homan, especially how he's giving Canada crap. If the Trump administration leans in Trudeau, we could have an election very soon to get rid of him. Yeah, you need an election to get rid of him. Light Rain did not get notified. Well, welcome to YouTube, folks. But to be fair, this is, okay, I'm not going to defend YouTube. I'm just going to state what I believe to be the case. When I schedule a live stream and it's less than 30 minutes before execution, YouTube doesn't notify people oftentimes. I don't know if it's everybody or just some people, but anyway. Yeah, maybe some of the cabinets are just massive troll to the left. Oh, they are. Matt Gaetz definitely a troll to the left, and Pete Hegseth the same thing, as well as Tulsi Gabbard. But we need cabinet ministers, cabinet members, not trolling the left. That's not the role of them. Anyway, but yeah, I understand you didn't get notified, Light Rain. It happens. I scheduled this less than 30 minutes because I was busy researching the Zama story, because I'm thinking about doing a video on that. Also, I had the interview with David Ansara this morning. Tomorrow, I'll be on with MV Velman doing a rugby interview. Then I've got the news. After that, I've got Ireland hosting Argentina, and then Saturday, 3 big games. So yeah. Slippery Pickle, we don't have a Minister of War, not since the Second World War. It's a Minister of Defense, but that's already Pete Hegseth. Jose da Silva, who in the Trump administration do all your followers have to contact for you to be his ambassador for South? I don't know, Jose. I don't know. I do not know. But maybe if people just go to Truth Social or go to Trump's webpage and just start posting, hey, you need to pick Colonel Wyatt to be your ambassador to South Africa. Who knows? Maybe they'll get attention. YouTube premium subscriber, I get notifications for all except you and one other channel, even if you just live. So you're a premium subscriber and you don't get notified for my channel. See, Arctic, look, okay, now John Jarvis is going to come in here and accuse me of complaining about conspiracy theory. I didn't bring this up. And I answered truthfully about, if I post within 30 minutes, you don't get notified. That's just how the system works. But yeah, anyway, it's true. I mean, people can deny it all they want, but it's true. So anyway, and the evidence is there. It's plain to see for people paying attention. By the way, the FBI raided the founder of the Poly Market. Presumably they want to go after him for interference in the election. That's crazy. We'll see what happens. But let's take a look at Poly Market and see what's going on there, because they've got other things that the people are betting on. I do not get the interest in this website and people betting on things like this, but people have gambling addictions, I guess. So here's take a look at what's going on Poly Market right now. So will Biden resign before inauguration? 5% chance. Who will be Trump's FDA commissioner? and this is kind of even. They've got RFK, Stephen Hahn, Scott Gottlieb, a whole bunch of people here. So, but the top 3 picks are Scott Gottlieb, RFK, and Stephen Hahn. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, 97%. Matt Gaetz confirmed as Attorney General. That's a 36% chance. So the market is saying that Gaetz won't get confirmed as Attorney General. Trump nominates RFK to his cabinet. 2/3 say that that's likely. Who will Trump pardon in the first 100 days? I don't know who Ross Ulbricht is, and himself. Well, if he January 6th protesters 75%, you say yes. So anyway, yeah. So let me see what happens if I say yes. Oh, I buy yes for $13.16. Nope. I don't gamble. So this is a silly site. Will Bitcoin hit $100,000 this year? Who will be part of Trump's administration? So yeah. So let's see who they got a low in here. Steve Bannon, Donald Trump Jr., Mike Pompeo, Jamie Dimon, Ron DeSantis, Ivanka Trump. Yeah, none of these people are going to get there. Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. So that's Polymarket, and they raided his home at 6:00 in the morning in Soho and took his phone and laptops. Yeah. Why are these male commentators of these lib platforms so femininely oriented? Because they're soy boys, G. Sawyer. They have low testosterone. They like to be pegged. I don't gamble. Just take people's money at poker tables. There you go, Pork Leaguer. The Dems are very keen for Biden to resign. Yeah, they are. Derek Stewart says, listening to your very informative live. Well, thank you for that, Derek. I do appreciate it. I wish millions more people would listen to my very informative live stream. Yep, and millions of people would go tell the Trumpster that they should pick me to be ambassador to South Africa. Or he could pick me to be the ambassador to the U.S. mission to the African Union. That would be pretty cool, too. Although I'd prefer to live in Hatfield as opposed to living in Addis Ababa. I've been to both. Don and Lemonhead. Hey, Lemonade. That's how you call him, Don Lemonhead. I get notifications and I'm a Royf Kiker. Hey, Robert. Okay, well, it's a hit and miss thing. I don't get notifications from my channel, so hit and miss. Hit and miss. By the way, folks, if you're not a subscriber on my other channel, please become one. I know we've got some people here now that are unfamiliar with that other channel. The other channel is at Real Chris Wyatt. So at Real. That's the original channel, and that's what I renamed it after. Artie says I can't say that if I want to be ambassador. What? They want to be pegged for that nomination for a position? Oh, Arctic, did you take that in a sexual connotation? No, I was saying they wanted to be pegged for position. Pegged, picked, nominated, selected. It's all the same thing. But I could see where Arctic would misinterpret that to have a sexual connotation. Liberal election meltdown tears so delicious like a tall glass of chilled lemonade on a hot summer's day. It is. I feel like just cracking open a beer, but I need to drive later today. I've got veterans meetings tonight, so no time for that. No time for alcohol. Yes, I mentioned it before. RFK has a LinkedIn-like website for nominating people to administration. Whoops, this tab just crashed. RFK has where is this RFK website? RFK site for nominating candidates, okay? Nominees for the People Forum, okay? Never heard this, okay? You may have mentioned it before, but it slipped my attention, okay? Website to crowdsource names to fill the 4,000, okay? So how about Fox News tell me where the hell it's at? It's not listed here. They don't give a link to it. Useless website, useless story. Okay. So what's the website called? Let me see. Okay. It is Nominees for the People. Okay, let me see if I find that. Copy. Google Nominees for the People. Because it doesn't show up in the news article. Why do you have a news article and you don't? Nominees for the People. Okay. Grassroots community is gratefully influx of nominees. Okay. Oh, they've closed it. It's not even open. Wow, I never knew it was open. So there you go. That's useless. That's useless. So yeah, it's useless. Sites, they've shut it down. So here it is. First time I heard about it. Anyway, that's, that would have been nice to know. Why wasn't that widespread in the news? It was reported November 12th and it's already closed. Just reported November 12th and it's already closed. What kind of shit is this? Wow. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. They shut it down just that quick. What a crock of shit. What a fraudulent thing. They're for the people, and you shut it down 2 days after it went down. It got set up. This is ridiculous. What a crock. John says, if I keep using his name, I have to start charging a fee. What's your fee going to be, John? What's your fee going to be? How much are you going to charge? I think Trump should appoint J.P. Sears as White House. Well, thank you for that one, Light Rain, but that site was only announced in the press on November 12th, and it's already closed. And you thought you were connected. Who, me? I'm not well connected. I'm not even remotely well connected. I'm well informed, but I'm not well connected. No, I'm not a political creature, and I don't hang out with people like that, so I'm not well connected. If I was well connected, I would be going into the Pennsylvania legislature right now. No doubt about it. I hear the Dems are cutting off family members who voted for Trump. Yeah, these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. I mean, if I went to TikTok right now, my goodness, what will show up on TikTok? This will be entertaining. I mean, there'll probably be some liberal crying on here, no doubt about it. TikTok is hilarious. These people expose themselves. They make these videos crying. When 2020 happened, we didn't make videos of ourselves crying on social media. We were disappointed. We made videos talking about how disappointed we were and how many people thought the things were just, stolen, but nobody. Come on. Why is it? See, I hate TikTok. It won't let me get past this one. Screw you. It won't let me get past that one video. Why is it doing that? It won't. It's forcing me to watch this video. I've never seen this before.
I love you.
Okay, I don't care about your cat videos. Anyway, so that's TikTok. That's useless. Everyone saw that Kamala was full of cock. That's true. 1 bottle of whiskey for every 100 times you use my name, says Arctic. Okay, well, so you want to super chat me and I don't mention who gave the money? Well, I just received 1,000 Rand super chat from he who shall not be named, Voldemort, also known as Arctic. No, you can't fix stupid. You can try, but you can't. Some people just really should wear signs on the forehead. Here's your sign. That's right. Anyway, so let me see if TikTok wants to play nice now. There we go. I love that. It's good stuff. Okay. Boy, something's going on. Oh, I know why. Let me try this. See if it's the network. I'll switch to... okay, everyone's... Okay, well, I'm not seeing... Usually it's just all liberal tears. That's not coming... Oh, here you... Oh, I shared this one video. Yes, where did I share? That was a TikTok. The video is so funny, man. That darn thing. Where did I share that at? Let me see if I shared on Telegram because so many messages go out. Let me see if I shared it there real quick because I would have sent it one place. No, I didn't. So it's going to have to be in WhatsApp, but maybe in the members. Members. Let me see if I put it there. This was so funny. Oh my goodness. Where's this at? This little girl is TikTok. This little girl. Oh my goodness. Let me see if that's it. There it is.
I just didn't want her to vote. I just wanted her to vote for Donald Trump.
Who?
Donald Trump.
Who did you want to vote for Donald Trump?
Taylor Swift.
She didn't vote for Donald
The little girl wanted Taylor Swift to vote for Donald Trump.
Trump? That makes you sad? Why? Do you like Donald Trump? So are you going to listen to Taylor Swift music anymore?
I want to because she's my favorite.
She's your favorite?
Both of them are my favorite.
Oh, Taylor Swift and Donald Trump?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why she didn't want to vote for Donald Trump.
I don't know either, baby. You're sad about it?
Aww.
What's wrong?
I just didn't want to.
I didn't want to vote for Kamala. I wanted to vote for Donald Trump. What music? I don't hear any music. James Brown says, what do you think new Trump means for you and your channel? Do you think YouTube heavy-handedness will be lesser? Oh, I've already stated this unequivocally since Susan Wojcicki disappeared from YouTube. And that's when I got my channel back after she was gone. It coincided exactly with the time she departed. Since she left, the YouTube censorship is eased. It's still there. They still do things. They still attack people. Their copyright censorship is out of control. But I understand why they do it. They're terrified of being sued by music people all the time, so they do it. But they don't do it to the networks. The networks get away with playing the music, and there's no copyright. So I love the Trump dance going viral, yeah. Oh, yeah. TikTok is a hit-and-miss game and an unpredictable animal. That's true. I wonder if Kamala cackles in bed with her husband. I really don't want to know the answer to that question, G. Sawyer. Yeah, James Brown, I don't think it's going to make any difference. I've already noted that on TikTok, if you used to say anything that even challenged the concept of what the left is doing with transgenderism, that you were immediately banned on, just taken off of this platform. It still happens on TikTok. It still happens on Instagram. It still happens on Facebook. But here it's eased a bit. Also, I've noticed that we can openly state questions regarding the events of 2020 without being censored. But, it's very capricious. They could change that in a moment. So I don't think it's going to have a big impact. Donald Trump. The only way it has a big impact is if the Attorney General starts impaneling grand juries and issuing indictments and subpoenas against government officials who colluded with tech companies. If that happens, then we can say what we want on this channel. We can say what we want. So I've had interest from someone who has the resources, didn't say they were going to do it, but they keep asking me curious questions about what would happen if I had my own domain. Well, I told them, I said, it'll cost this much money and I'll have to have someone that maintains the site, someone I trust, and give them access. And then I can go on there and say whatever I like. So someone actually has interest in that, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm looking at some of their options right now, a way to generate some more cash unrelated to this. But yeah, so I've always said that regardless of what I do, unless it's a ethics issue, if I work for the government or if I work in the private sector and they have an ethical issue with me doing YouTube, then I'll continue to do YouTube. So I just would change the time I would do it. And I think most of you know that I run on D-cell batteries that are perpetually charged. So I will do it regardless of the hour, and I will make sure. I mean, look what happens when I go and I do consulting at the War College. I still do videos. I do tons of videos. I do them from there on my breaks. I do them in the morning before I come in. I do them in the evening, and I still try to keep people informed. So yeah. But that Nominees for the People is done. It's already shut down. It only opened up a couple of days ago, and they already shut it down. It's a joke. It's a joke. Wow, this is a joke. Glenn Beck is listed in here. Bernie Sanders. There's mostly leftists that came in here. Pete Buttigieg is listed in here. He's got one of the biggest followings. Ron Paul, that's a big one. Brendan Harrah for ATF. Yeah, so kind of BS that they closed down number categories so early. Yeah, it's total BS. Please reopen submissions. Yep. So 1 hour ago, they said they hope to reopen. So I'm going to sign up for the site, and I'm going to complain about taking nominations. So here's the site, folks. Keep an eye on it if you're serious and you about suggesting that I become the ambassador. I know that's not for Scott. Scotty and his team won't do that. So anyway, here you go. So there you go. That's it. So I'm going to sign up for the site, and I'm going to keep pestering them to open it up for nominations. So if you want to sign up for it, do it. There you go. Anyway, yeah. What is this? Penguins. Okay, I got something here. I'm like, what the heck is this? Freedom Passport. Join the freedom movement with Freedom Passport. What the hell is this? Every citizen's Freedom Passport. What's the purpose? Oh, it's the bill. That's just stupid. These people just trying to make money. Just trying to make money off of rubes. Anyway, I keep getting job offers and notifications about jobs. I must have signed up for some site not realizing it. So And so somebody said to me, the analysis I did last night of Dan Bilzerian said, thanks for your feedback on the interview with Dan Bilzerian. I thought this guy's statement was just too bizarre, and only you with your knowledge, wisdom, and experience will be able to present us with the truth. Yeah. You're very welcome. Thank you for responding to that. Look, I thought I was going to take a lot of flack for my video on that last night. It's a human Duracell battery bunny. Keeps on going and going and going. That's right. May your channel blossom. Well, James Brown, I love it. If it would blossom, it'd be fantastic. What is this? Creators adopting live automated mid-rolls, average 20% uplift in stream. I'm not looking for revenue stream from advertising here, but YouTube's trying to get me to do that. So I have it set for manual, so you shouldn't get ads during my live stream, like unless I push the button like right now and try to get an ad. Let's see how many people get it. I'm going to push this insert ad, and I'm going to pull up, did you just get an ad? Let's see how many people. It was about 8% last time, so let's see. All right, if they're getting an ad, they can't hear it now. Did you just get an ad? Did you just get an ad? Advert. Okay, there you go. All right, so please answer the poll if you didn't get one. If you got one, please answer the poll. Do you think Britain and USA will continue their close relationship? No, Britain and U.S. do not have a close relationship. Trump will have to rebuild those bridges, but rebuilding bridges with the socialist czar of communist United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, is going to be very difficult. Keir Starmer is an illegitimate ruler of a country that has lost its way. United Kingdom is gone. It's completely gone. They're arresting people for carrying the British flag on British soil and putting them in prison for a year. They put a man in prison for 2 years and 8 months who committed no criminal offense. He was simply present during a demonstration and was disrespectful to police. It's not a crime to be disrespectful to police in the United Kingdom, but he was sent to jail for 2 years and 8 months. 61-year-old man, to silence him. Meanwhile, pedos and groomers run the streets of the Midlands, raping and molesting young English girls, impregnating them, plying with drugs and alcohol, and pimping them for years, while the police, cowardly, afraid of being called racist, simply do nothing about it because these are lost children, because their useless parents aren't keeping an eye on them. That is horrible. That is horrific. That is absolutely horrific. And that is the United Kingdom. I downloaded a couple GIFs last night which show the change in demographics because I was looking at something and it mentioned the Great Replacement Theory and how it's bogus, and people keep claiming the Great Replacement Theory is nonsense. It's not true. Simply not happening. But here's the problem with that. So here you go. Let me put this on the screen. It is happening. Whether you believe in Great Replacement Theory or not, the indigenous populations of the United Kingdom and Western Europe are being displaced by people from other parts of the world who don't share the same values, mores, and norms. So here you go. Now, this is a GIF. So 2001, you can see parts of Britain and a percentage. So for instance, in Northern Ireland, 2001, 99.1% of the population was white British. Now it's 96%. In London, it was 59.7% in 2001. Now it's 44% white British. Cornwall, it was 95, now it's 91. Wales was 96, now it's 93. Scotland was 95.4, now it's 91.9. So it is true, it is happening. The British and the English, the Scots, the Irish, the Welsh, the Cornish are being displaced. British were 88% white in 2001, now they're just 81%. So 1 out of 5 people in the UK is no longer white when it was less than 1 in 10 just 30 years ago. It was less than 1 in 20 30 years ago. But now it's 1 in 5. So the Great Replacement Theory is true. Let's take a look at the United States. This is another GIF. This one's a little hard to see. Let me zoom it up a little bit here. So it goes back in time. I can't stop it because it's a GIF that rolls, but 2000. See, overall, 2000, 75, 2010, 72% were white, 61% in 2020. In 1960, 89% of the population was white. And in my lifetime, it's gone from 89 to 62%. According to this. My figures is actually 78. But anyway, look at Texas. It was 87% white, 86, 78, 75, and now just 71%, 70%, 50%. So Texas has gone from 87% white in 1960 to 50% white in 2020. Yeah, there's no such thing as a Great Replacement Theory. We're not replacing the population, indigenous population. No, that's simply not true. California in 1960 was 92% white. 92% white in 1960. And in 2020, the total is 41%. California was 92% white in 1960, and now it's 41% white. Yeah, there's no such thing as great replacement theory. There's no such thing as indigenous population being pushed out. Really? Those are from census reports. If you're wondering why Republicans have a hard time winning, that's why. That's why. Because Democrats have painted Republicans as racist for years and gotten away with it. And the people who come into the country tend not to vote for Republicans. So is there truth to great replacement theory? Of course there is. It's a Frenchman who came up with the concept around 2011. Do you think Biden, the USA, got to add on my phone, not the TV? That hit the nail on the head. Do you think the people of UK will wake up and follow the States? I don't know. UK is gone. Bringing it back is going to be a real challenge. Okay, so let's see. How many people answered it? 36 people answered. 42% got an ad. Okay, well, that's higher than I expected. So that means that about 12 people got an ad. 13 people. That's cool. Sorry to bother you with the ad. We're just testing it. Erica's being called to supper, and we're an hour and a half here for this stream. It is Thursday. I've got other events going on, and I'm loving the audience. You guys are fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for being here. I'm going to join that site and then moan that it's been closed so quickly. If it opens back up, if you want to go nominate me or tell them you want me for ambassador to South Africa, do it. Do it. Yep. All right, that's going to do it for here, folks. Thanks a lot for being here. I'm hungry. I need to get something to eat. My head's killing me, and I need to take a break here. So thanks for being here. We'll catch you next time. And please check out my content. I did a video yesterday that's not getting a lot of attention on the FBI raid on Polymarket CEO Shane Copeland. And if you haven't watched the soccer video with Danny Jordan, please go back and watch that so we push it over 6,000. We're less than 100 away from that, so I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. And what a great time to be alive. Yeah, exactly. The fall of Rome, but with Wi-Fi. That's funny. With hotspots. It's great to see you after so long. Been a busy few months. Thanks to Great Stream. You're welcome, Sandy. Thanks a lot. By the way, Sandy's a lovely person whom I met in Cape Town, whose books I narrated. After I narrated, we met up in Cape Town. She took me to dinner to a lovely burger place, which was quite loud, but the burgers were quite tasty. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. Cheers. No crabs. It's Monday. They usually come on the weekends.